Human rights.
To provide forms of life assistance.
In December 2006, the United Nations created a major new piece of legislation, the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The Convention confirms disabled people's right to life, equality, integrity, freedom and security. It includes specific reference to the right to independent living and inclusive education.
One of the problems that we have is that the judiciary know very little about human rights. In this case, the judge declared that they should have their life support systems removed. She wouldn't listen to evidence which said dying of dehydration and starvation is extremely painful and degrading and inhuman. She said that it was degrading and inhuman to be forcibly fed. So they died. And it's one of the reasons why we fought very hard to have this thing in the convention.
Disability Awareness in Action was one of the many DPOs worldwide who campaigned for the UN Convention, and now DAA promotes it as an essential tool for disabled people's organisations.
We spend the entire time looking at UN international human rights instruments, particularly the Convention on the Rights of Disabled People, and how relevant they are to disabled people at the grassroots. The delegates who come to these courses are struggling with the issues, but they don't really know how to identify them as human rights. And they don't know how to get the evidence to win the arguments. So what we're trying to do is to help them through that. If they don't use the very good convention we now have, they won't be able to campaign properly. It's another tool in the armoury, and they need this weapon.
The other side will try to discredit him as a witness, and what they will do, they will say, well, he has mental health problems.
So what about then Article 16?
He was assaulted, so Article 16 is very relevant. And then at the second stage, what happened to him? He tried to kind of...
And I really wanted to understand what rights means. So, for example, some rights are not actually absolute. They can be taken away in certain circumstances, and they are dependent on various circumstances. So that was quite a big shock for me and quite interesting. And I also felt like I would like to bring the knowledge I have back to the deaf community and try and enable and do some capacity work there, and also build on their own knowledge of human rights.
And if disabled people are clued up, they can have a better quality of life.
The more understanding we've got of the rights of disabled people means that we can give a better quality of information, advocacy and service.
Now when you're working in the work area of work we work in, there's a passion about it. It's not just a day-to-day job, it's a passion to communicate and to get results for the people that you represent and you work for. And anything that gives us power, it's power, you know, power's, knowledge is power. And so therefore to be able to use this for the argument for the better of the people that we represent, then that's all good stuff, isn't it?
I had a similar experience when I was trying to rebook an appointment at the hospital. I was first in the queue, and when the receptionist realised I was deaf, she told me to go and sit down, and I said, why? She said, I've got all these other people I need to deal with now, but I'm first in the queue.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good example.
Give me a lot of opportunities to have discussions with other people around me on this course about these issues, which often deaf people or disabled people or advocates are very, very isolated, and we're all segregated, so it's quite good to get us all together to sit here and discuss all these issues and share our interests and our knowledge to support each other. I think it's been absolutely fantastic.
If there's one thing that you're going to take away from the weekend, what would it be?
I think it's finding out that human rights is actually attainable and can be used by ordinary local people. But for a local organisation like us, who are definitely grassroots, work at grassroots level with people who have, you know, some terrible things happening to them and being discriminated against and treated wrongly, if we, you know, would be able to use this and show them that actually this law and these rights are for them,